Hello, everyone. Welcome back for GBC Live. Throwing some little graphics in and everything like that. We're still figuring out this is GBC Live, episode 1, I guess, of 2.0. Now that we're on YouTube, and we're going to do some really cool stuff. As you can see, we've got Amanda here tonight, and we're going to talk about Mammoth Tuff coming up September 16th. Vic and I were at the inaugural one last year, had a blast. And after one event, it's already on everyone's must do. I've always said that Eastern Sierra is my favorite place to ride, and the fall is my favorite time of the year. So we're pretty jacked to discuss about that. We're also going to throw in a little bit of a fly through here, so you can see. If you love these fly-throughs, guess what? If supporters on Patreon, we've got a lot of extra maps on there as well, getting a whole library of route recons. So if you're a supporter there, it's one of the many added perks that we have there. Also, we are working on our new GBC jerseys. This is not a tease because I will not be showing it later, but maybe it is. So then other than that, let's just bring everybody on. And hello, Amanda.
Hang on, sorry, I muted myself. Hi. I didn't know if you could hear me back there, so I just muted it. Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
Good. New format. I like it. Kind of a little bit more flexible than Instagram, right?
Yes. I mean, already with the videos, it's already a big win. So yeah, we're just going to keep cranking all these extra things on here and just have a lot of fun with it. First of all, I didn't know that 2 out of 3 people here were actually in Mammoth last weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
How are you still up there right now, Amanda?
No, I'm not. No, I came back down to do some work, and I knew this was going to be today, so yeah, it worked out. And the 395 was closed yesterday, so.
Oh.
Yeah. When did you get back, Vic? Sunday?
I left. I was supposed to come back Sunday, but I came back Saturday because of Hillary.
Oh, okay. Oh, we just lost.
Sorry. Oops, sorry. See, I'm just messing around with some of these things here.
Yeah, Vic, I don't know. Did you see Dave yelling out the van at you when we were on Saturday? Yeah.
I did. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did see him. That was
great.
We
were leaving that 50K mountain bike race and going down the hill, and I was like, holy crap, that's Vic. Stick your head out the window.
Yes. Yeah, my tire was going flat. The only reason I was on the road was because my front tire was losing air. Otherwise, I would have been on downtown, on that trail called Downtown.
That's what I was like, why is he on the road?
Yeah, because my tire was almost flat. I'm like, I'm not going to go on the trail and kill myself.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Well, quickly, because it's been all the rage of the news right now. The storm. We're still kind of like tracking on what it did down here, but I imagine, with the type of sand and conditions up there, like actually the storm probably did pretty well for the roads, or.
Oh, for the actual dirt roads, yeah, for sure. I mean, the mountain biking on Friday or Saturday and Sunday were like a couple of the best days of the year so far, and it was just because of the rain. I think everybody was a little bit worried about it, but I rode through the rain on Sunday morning, like before it got heavy in the afternoon, and those are the best kind of conditions for Mammoth because the pumice actually like weighs down, and so you don't get that like sandy, dusty feel. It's like the only time that Mammoth feels like real loamy dirt, basically. So it was good. It wasn't that great for like Bishop in the high desert in terms of the flooding, but the mountains I think were fine.
Yep.
Well, we already have just a couple quick comments to throw on here. Win, hype for Tuff. We just saw him a couple weeks ago. And then Doug, he actually says Dirt's up here in Mammoth Lakes. Oh, okay. Doug actually asked me a question earlier this week. I know Duff. I was watching Simpsons earlier. Was asking earlier this week. He's doing the short course, but he was asking what type of tire width would be appropriate. And my quick answer was probably you can get away with lighter, narrower as you go into the smaller distances, you want to keep going wider. But you probably have a better expert assessment than me.
Yeah, I start with as wide as your frame can fit and work backwards. So a lot of frames can fit up to a 50 nowadays. I think that's kind of the standard for most gravel bikes. But if you have an older generation gravel bike or a cross bike, you're a lot more limited. So that's why I usually say that first. Start from what the max is and then work backwards. And some of those considerations will be like bike handling skills, and how much power you put out. Like you guys all know, the softer the material is, the more watts you need to push through it. But if you have a wider tire, you can push less because you're basically floating on top of it a little bit more. So the best case scenario would be a 48 for most people, because you probably have like average power, okay bike handling skills, and you just want to have a good time. Then get as wide as you can just to like float a little bit more and have fun.
I like that. That's great advice.
Yeah, I definitely, when I first was in the area 3 years ago and Dave gave me the course, like I had done that first part we're going to look at going the opposite direction, which was like a slugfest.
Yeah.
But definitely you guys have done your research and found the right roads. And well, let's just dig right into our little computer live stream here. So this is the short course, but give us some overall notes, because it's particulars. It's about 40 miles.
Yeah, about 40. We're largely on the short course, there isn't much water damage compared to the medium and the long route. So for the most part, I think that the short route will stay pretty similar to this. So it is the latest start of the 3 waves, and it kind of starts with pavement right off the bat. You're climbing the 203 for a little bit before turning on to Scenic Loop. And the reason why we do that is because, like last year, for instance, the short route was our biggest field. And so it's a good idea to have that climb in the beginning to spread it out a little bit. And then as you leave the village and go further on here, when you make that turn onto the 203, we did that for the pre-ride last year as well. And I think we'll probably do that again, just so people know what to expect and that you're going to kind of get your heart rate up a little bit from the beginning. But yeah, once you go a little bit farther down that road, it's kind of, you start descending and then make a sharp left turn into what we call the Inyo craters area. And that is your first taste of dirt. That main road is kind of nice and fun. And then as you pass the parking lot and the bathrooms for Inyo craters, then you get into like the soft, a little bit rowdier stuff. And I think that's the section, Zach, that you rode backwards. And you're always the example that we give people of like why it's good to do your homework for riding in that area, because a lot of times what Dave and I end up suggesting to people is basically where not to ride. Because if you choose the wrong direction for a road, even if it's a little bit softer, it's not going to be as fun as flying down it the other way. And that's definitely true for that whole Inyo crater section. And yeah, if you have good bike handling skills and you're comfortable with a bit more techie, soft, like faster speeds through the woods, then you're really going to like this section. And if you're a little bit more timid and not as confident, then I would say go pre-ride that if you can Thursday or Friday beforehand, just so you know what to expect, because I think that's probably one of the trickier sections on the short course, and it is pretty early on.
Yeah, here I'm going to throw up, I think I just threw up just a video a second ago of part of it, but here's the second part that highlights Vic, unfortunately. But it is soft. You can definitely see with all the sand vapor hitting people in the face.
Yeah,
you have to pedal through even if you are going downhill.
right.
But this section, was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot more fun going in this direction this time. But yeah, I mean, I know this isn't featured in the medium and long, but it is was a big highlight of the weekend, especially doing on the shakeout ride and getting everybody in there for that.
Yeah, was that footage was from the pre-ride on Friday?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and I didn't add the one where Vic fell down, but it's okay. It's okay.
Did I fall down? I didn't fall down.
No, but you actually did on the medium. Remember we had the it was that big descent, probably the last descent where you and I met up and we looked across the Owens Valley and then there was a Jeep coming up the other way. It was the one where
I did.
Amanda said she took Yuri the other way.
Oh, yeah, the Deer Springs descent.
Yeah.
Oh, that was brutal because it was so deep. The pumice was so deep. I crashed going in a straight line.
Yeah.
Into the bushes. That was so embarrassing.
Oh yeah, that's one of the roads this year that we're worried about because on the climbing section, the road just got completely ruined from water damage. And Dave had a conversation with the Mono County people today, and they're going to try and fix that road before event day, which is nice. But so we're hoping it's going to be in really good conditions if the county does some work on it.
So what does it have, ruts, or what's the problem with it?
Yeah, there's one section at the bottom. I mean, it's called Deer Springs. So at the top of it, there's water that flows down normally. And with the overabundance of water over the winter, it made ruts down through the middle of it. And towards the bottom, Dave has some pictures where the ground is like chest high and from the runoff. So if he stands in the rut, it's like it comes up to his chest. So yeah, it's just like crazy, like a mini Grand Canyon that formed through there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go continue on with the map, and we're kind of done with the first dirt section, and I kind of see we go underneath the 395.
Yeah.
And then is this called the Lookout Mountain area that's on the east side of 395?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So for those people looking at the map, you basically go through a tunnel, so don't be worried about having to cross over the 395. That's kind of why it does that little extra section there. But it gets you over safely, and yes, it'll be a little bit soft in that section, but it's worth it to get over to Owens River Road. And then that whole section around Lookout Mountain is called, we call it the broken pavement section because it's part of old 395 and there's just remnants of old asphalt through there. And then if you're ever out riding in that area, there's a really cool road that actually goes up to Lookout Mountain, but it's just an out and back, like a nice little fun climb. But that's a really cool one for an awesome view if you're out just riding and want to go check it out. But yeah, for the purposes of our event, we basically just ride that whole old asphalt section around Lookout Mountain.
I think, okay, I'm about to throw on a video. See, I pulled a whole bunch of videos because I enjoyed it so much. And this is part of that section too.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if too many people remember that Star Wars video games where you had to kind of like go through the canal.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun going down here. And like I said, the broken pavement, I didn't know this was part of 395, but kind of like choosing your line back and forth as you go through. I thought that was another one. Actually, I think that was like the funnest part of the course for me was just kind of like skeetering from one side to the next.
That was a really fun section. I like that too.
Oh yeah, because you're on the medium route at this point. I forgot that you guys join in here. Yeah,
we did the medium, and it was fast through there. It was fun.
Yeah. That's another one that I would recommend people go check out if they do have the time, just because if you're not comfortable with like a little drop off and then also a little like curb kind of pickup, none of them are really that bad, but it can catch you off guard if you aren't looking for it. So it's also hard to explain unless you've seen it, like what old pavement looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, since like the timing of it is early in the morning, the shadows are a little bit low.
Right.
So, one thing that I've been getting into lately is making sure I wear sunglasses that are way too dark most of the time. And I think that's one thing that as gravel riders, we just don't, pick out as much as getting the proper eyewear for the time of the day, especially in the morning. But that was a clear day. I was following Troy. So, questionable choices there. But going back to the map here, let's see. So you swing around Lookout Mountain, and then I know for the medium course, we just kind of continue on Owens Valley Road.
Yeah.
But I am not familiar with the section right here that kind of cuts in.
Yeah, it's a fun little section through the trees, basically. I mean, from the point that you leave that area around Lookout Mountain, you're basically not ever in the trees until you get back towards town. So we kind of just wanted to add another fun little section through here. It also adds a little bit of mileage, but it's just a really fun little extra credit section through the trees. And then that road that takes you back to Owens River Road is just like this really nice, fun view of Bald Mountain, which is the mountain in the distance. And yeah, it's just pretty. It's like one of those roads that we've been on. We're like, we should have people ride this one.
Yeah, and I think uh, every time that I've been out there and have ridden, like this section right here has definitely been like the visual highlight. I mean, there's a lot of visual highlights there, but the big contrast you have of kind of just coming out, seeing the mountains, and then just kind of, I mean, Southern California clear air is a rarity, but it just kind of has like a heavenly glint with the just the contrast of the, I don't know if it's fog or whatever it is that's coming up out there,
Yeah.
but it just especially in the fall, you just get the colors at their peak, and it just, you finally start to bring in the whole scale of everything.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, that's I think one of the um most popular comments we got last year was like, I didn't know that we were going to get 360-degree mountain views. Everybody kind of focuses on the Sierra being there and forgets that the Glass Mountains and then the White Mountains are on the other side. And there's just always something to look at. And even here, when you're on Owens River Road, I think people just forget that there's kind of some ranch land out there and just a really cool gravel road that circles that area.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, like, I know, like last year, I just decided to take a break, just look at it and take it all in.
Yeah.
Right as I hit the little cattle guards there,
Hmm.
and it's unique. It just it's, your mind has trouble dealing with the scale of these big mountains and how you move against them, because it's a scale you're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because here, I guess we're already at the halfway point of this course, and it does look like there's a lot of straightaway here, but the section goes fast just because you're just not paying attention really at what's in front. Sure, it's like a straight road, but as you've got like the White Mountains, like kind of like behind you to the east, and then the Sierra coming up on the west. Yeah, it's just it's this is just a unreal portion of just where you take everything in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's I think Owens River Road is just like classic Mammoth gravel area stuff. And I've heard stories in the past of like people trying to make road rides, and Google Maps used to always like for some reason lead people through there, and they'd get to that cattle guard and be like, what the heck, I can't ride through here. So I think it's finally a more well-known gravel road, and it's just a really cool road to ride, even if it's not for the event. It's just something that's pretty close by and nice, and probably the widest open road closest to Mammoth in terms of like a good gravel road. And if you get it after they've graded it, those are the best conditions.
Well, I know what there's the ranch that's on the west. Can't remember the name, but the fact you're kind of like close to the river and the fishing, um, and then there's the cows. I did see a couple cows that did jump over the gate. They're
Yeah.
getting very skilled at that.
Yeah.
But luckily, it's a wide enough open space that it's like none of these bovines are gonna sneak up on you.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to remind people at this point, like you said, it is pretty much halfway. And for the majority of everything up until that point, whether you're on the medium or the short route, you've been descending this whole time. And because of that, you like forget to eat and drink. And I think that's one of the things I always try to remind people is like you're having so much fun and it's beautiful out there. But in order to have a good second half of the ride, you got to remember to eat and drink through that. And that sometimes for people who do like wearing a pack, where that comes in handy because you don't have to take your hands off the handlebars to get nutrition and hydration in. So just keep that in mind for any of the distances for Mammoth Tuff. It's primarily descending for the first half of all of them. And because of that, that's why I try to hammer home, like, make sure you're staying on top of that stuff.
Yeah. I think like that was kind of like a key for us last year, was that we came up on the Thursday, really acclimated ourselves. And I think I even mentioned in the newsletter, I think one thing is that even though Mammoth Lakes is at 9,000 feet, the drive up there, if you're Southern California, yeah, you're getting the elevation, but you're not going as crazy as some other mountains. And I think like, we even stopped and rode along the way at 7,000 feet. And I felt like we did pretty well with the elevation, although my hardest mile was the beer mile. which was actually like a real important lesson for me, because like, I tried to do pretty well in that thing, thinking I was still running the Boston Marathon. But when you're really emptying the tank, you kind of forget that you are really expending yourself exponentially. And I don't think that we had, the way we rode, we never kind of like went for that, or we're in race pace. We just kind of like kept a nice steady, tempo there. And I think that is what made the day super enjoyable.
Do you agree with that, Vic?
Totally. I can't start hard in that elevation, even if I come up a couple of days before.
Yeah.
I have to pace myself, and then, as it goes later on, I feel better and better. I kind of forget about it. But those first few miles are always a struggle for me.
Yeah.
In the elevation. Same with the mountain biking. When I did Mammoth Tuff, that was the first time I'd ever ridden gravel, and it was completely different from what I thought, because I've only ridden on the mountain before.
Right.
So the difference is striking. But on the mountain bike, we ride up a gondola. We don't even pedal, and then we're 12,000 feet. It's like, oh wait, I can't breathe. But so the starting off, like he said, on a tempo is definitely the way to go on the gravel ride.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll kill yourself if you push your heart rate too high, and then it's too hard to recover from that.
Yep. And I like how you guys reminded everybody, like, the numbers don't sound so scary, especially for the short one. And it's way more difficult than the numbers say, because of the elevation and because of the pumice. Like you said, it kind of saps your energy. So I'm glad you warned me about that, because it definitely, I might have taken it a little more lightly. Not totally light, but it just didn't sound like anything. Like, I do that kind of stuff all the time, but not at 9, 10, 11,000 feet. So it makes a hell of a difference. Heed the warnings, kids.
Yeah, the amount of people that told us afterwards, like, we kind of just thought you were like bluffing or just doing some weird marketing thing to talk about how hard it was, but like, it was really that hard. I was like, yeah, I wasn't gonna lie.
It was really that hard.
Yeah.
It was really that hard.
Well, you never got, I never felt like I got into a place of like where, like, rock cobbler, I'm pushing my bike up a hill, like that type of hard. I think like even when the sand was soft, it was manageable. Like, you didn't like totally like ski and stop. It was stuff if you could pedal through if you just, kept the regular pace. I felt like it just like, the range never got you into a high red.
Well, let's be clear. Rock Cobbler is not a riding event. Rock Cobbler is a rodeo, is a torture event. Mammoth Tuff is a riding event, and everything's rideable. If you have the right skills. No one can ride all of Rock Cobbler. I don't care who you are. No one can ride it all. So you can't compare that.
Yeah, I made a post yesterday saying like, oh, for the GBC Live, we're going to talk about the short course because I'm stressing about the medium and long route because there's road damage. And Scott Lundy messaged me and he was like, was it damaged enough that Sam wouldn't include it? like that was his level of like what I should be worried about. I was like,
Yes.
I don't know, we're pushing the limits of what Sam would think is even acceptable.
I don't know. Sam puts in some crazy
I
stuff.
know.
Like,
Yeah.
wow, dude, are you serious?
Before we get back to the map, let me throw in a few comments here. Stephanie from LA, if this is you for your first, what does MT stand for?
Mammoth Tuff.
Mammoth Mountain time? I don't know.
What are you talking about, Zach?
Mountain gravel.
Yes. What distance should I select? Medium or long course? I live at sea level in Los Angeles. Is there a cutoff time?
Yeah. The long route is the only one with a cutoff time. So basically, even if you do the short and medium, and for some reason it takes you all day, you're still kind of bound to the same cutoffs as the long route. But if it's your first one, and let's say it's your first gravel event, I would definitely say start with the short course. And if you can get up the day before, go pre-ride that Inyo crater section, like I mentioned, because that's going to be the most technical stuff. So if you're ready for that, you can ride pretty much the rest of it. But yeah, I would just say come prepared, do the short one, and then just get stoked on that, and it'll get you ready and excited to train maybe for the longer ones.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we definitely the medium course. Vic and I did that last year. We were in good shape afterwards. We saw a lot of really good riders come in on the long course who definitely look like they wrecked their day. I think if you haven't been up in the area, I would not tackle the long course unless you're pretty adept. And of course, I'll have to throw in Dave's remark here. Read the rider's guide and you decide. And note this is the hardest 100 in North America. And we're not going to start a debate with people in the time zone.
Interstate debate, come on.
Yes, but we all know Dave knows that. And then this is Matt. He did the long last year.
Okay.
Sun exposure to the caldera. He's coming back and doing the long again. So
Nice.
Driving up from San Diego. So
Grodelito. That's fun.
Yeah, I need a better handle. All right, we're gonna go back to the map here, and as we're kind of swinging around here, there is a pit stop here at Hot Creek, and that's at about right before the 30-mile mark.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, like as you're crossing Hot Creek right here, it's pretty gorgeous. That's a campsite. Kind of makes you jealous you didn't set up there. But it does kind of like set up heading over to Hot Creek. And one thing last year when I did it, I decided to take some time out and actually head down there and just kind of like take a moment because like it's a gorgeous spot. And I think I've got a video I'm throwing on here. Yes, showing off my bike fully stacked. But it's just that blue is not a color you normally see. And it's worth like going ahead and peeking your head over. I know that the pit stop is right behind it, but just a gorgeous and unique thing. And I know even people go the day before and just check out that and the hot springs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not racing to win, I highly recommend that. I went there this weekend as well. It's otherworldly looking. It's like nothing else on the planet, like literally.
Yeah.
And I've been in that water once. You're not supposed to go in it, but now there's so many signs, and it was a ranger, so we didn't try and go in again. But it's like you're on another planet.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth taking a look if you're not trying to win.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to Yellowstone you'll find in California, I'm pretty sure.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so that if you're looking at the map right now, that road, the red line that crosses over Hot Creek, that's a really popular photo spot. If you like even just stop there and take some pictures, it's a lot of where the marketing photos that we use for this event have been taken. And yeah, previously you could camp there, Zach, but they've actually put up like a ton of fencing because they don't want people camping there anymore. people would just like boondock and stay way too long. And the water levels are so high right now that it's actually just kind of dangerous to be kind of more towards that swift moving water. But it's really pretty. So I would suggest you stop and take a picture, especially if you're just out there to have a good time. And then you probably pedal for like 10, 15 more minutes until you get to that next aid station. So if you've gotten that far, you're right around the corner from the aid station for the short route. And yeah, just get there and you're good to go.
Yeah, one thing I guess, like, I'll use a little 3D map here, which kind of shows a little bit of what you see, but just kind of like with the Sierra in the background, like, I mean, if you've been there, this doesn't do it justice, seeing the scale, like these 14,000 foot peaks around here, but just rolling through the whole valley is just so gorgeous in clear air.
So I don't know if you guys have opened the rider guide yet or not that we've released, but on the second to last page of the rider guide, for those of you that are doing the event this year, I actually put a link to the No Hot Creek, like saying no to that big open pit that they're trying to start. So if you're standing at that Hot Creek aid station looking out and you can like see the geysers and stuff, that whole open area behind it, they're going to start exploratory drilling this fall. And so in that rider guide, there's a link to the website where you can try to sign the petition, send a letter to the to U.S. Forest Service to say that you're opposed to it. But if they find what they're looking for, it could potentially lead to like a massive open pit mine in that area. Yeah, it's crazy.
What are they drilling for? I'm sorry.
Gold.
Gold?
Yeah. So the exploratory part is starting this fall. And like I said, if they find something that they're interested in, it's just going to get worse. So in that rider guide, there's a link where you can donate to the people that are trying to fight back on it. And you can also, like I said, it'll populate a letter that you can send into Forest Service to say that you're against it.
We have to post that link right now, Zach. That's horrible.
Yeah. Send it to me, and I'll definitely share that in the notes. When it's rebroadcast. That's crazy.
I thought you were going to say oil, like gold.
No, yeah, really? It's crazy.
Quickly before I go on, Martin, who will be in our next video, you say Thursday to Sunday. That sounds great. I agree. But a lot of literature seems to agree that 36 after is the worst time to race. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good question. I saw that one come in. You need to weigh what your goals are. And I always tell that to people. Like, if you are coming up for a good time, worry less about like whether or not your body's at peak performance before event day. But if it's important to you to check out a couple sections, spend some time with the family a couple days before, do one of the pre-rides with us. If you're looking to just like experience all of it, worry less about how crappy your body might feel 36 hours in, which is what the science will tell you. But if you are coming to Mammoth Tuff because you want to win your category and that's the most important thing to you, then yeah, go off of the science. But for 95% of you, I don't think that that's something that you should worry about, and kind of just more focus on having fun. And if you stay hydrated and eat enough, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah. Stay hydrated. Yeah.
Yeah, and Martin will be disqualified because if you saw my previous video, he was using the Super Tuck. So
super serious.
Yeah. So really, Martin, I don't know where you're going with all this. Going back just to finishing off the course here. I know we kind of like continue and take the dirt out to Highway 395, and I remember this might have been your earlier version where we take this little dirt road here, and I'm really glad you, even though some people may have some thoughts about riding on 395, like that was like a rock quarry to go through, and I think actually going on the 395 for about that mile is probably a much I think there's definitely enough of a shoulder there that you're not riding right up against traffic, but like I think that's a much preferred way to go.
Yeah, it is. And you'll see people, if you look on Strava, ride with GPS, we send plenty of people through there if they can handle it, like for our gravel camps. And so usually when I get to that intersection, I give people a choice. I say, would you rather ride 1.5 miles on the highway or ride 1 mile through like a lava field? You decide. And so that's kind of the option that you have there. And so people who are really good bike handlers and like an adventure, it's a really fun road and it's really pretty to kind of go through there and push through it. But if you're just not into it and you'd rather just get back to town on the highway, that's the way to go.
Yes, and we had some high winds last time. I think is that typical getting high winds that time of day, or was that just kind of like?
I know the answer to that question. It's yes. It's every day. The same wind comes down that main road, headwind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just happens. It's just every day.
Yeah, I mean, unless like something that is normal and standard is to have the headwind, but like for example, for the past 4 days with that hurricane, you had that nice wind from the south, which was super rare and like a fun time to go through those segments that are kind of northbound, basically. But yeah, normally I think you're always going to kind of be battling a little bit of a headwind. Last year was just a bit of a headwind.
A bit. Yes, it was.
Well, after this, I guess we go underneath 395, and this is the one last set of dirt, Sawmill Creek. If I got that right. I remember it's a little exposed, not too sandy, and it probably feels, depending on where you are in the ride, you may not welcome one last climb, but it really isn't as bad, because you're so close. If you focus on you are that close, it really kind of turns over a lot quicker. And even though a big portion of it is kind of dirt until you hit the park, kind of like once you get in the tree area, it kind of softens up already, right?
Yeah, and that road's in pretty good shape because they are doing some construction back there, so that that work in that plant back there and on that pipeline, it's a little bit firmer than it has been in the past, so it gets you to Shady Rest Park. And personally, I like it way better than riding the highway anyways. It kind of goes by faster because you get through the trees and you're a little bit more distracted, so get through that dirt section and you're pretty much close to home free.
Yeah, and then the home stretch where you make it back in. Yeah, it's hard to believe you're going back up to 9,000 feet. At that point, it's kind of like out of your mind. But then just over to the finish area where I know the dinner, lunch served, depending on what time you get in. Definitely everyone hung out there. There, the village, great little vibe afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, start, finish in the village. This year there's a concert, so you're going to miss that, Zach. But we're putting on a concert on Saturday night. So I've been telling people, like, try to pick a distance where you could probably get back and ready for a concert at 5:30. If you're still pushing through the long route, that's fine. You'll make it for the headliner. It's okay. But yeah, we're excited about the music. I think that was one thing that was kind of a little bit missing from last year, was like a reason to hang out afterwards a little bit more too. So Claudia's still going to be there. The food truck will be in the village along with some other food and drink options. And then, yeah, you can, even if you go back and shower, come back and hang out for the music.
Oh, the food truck was great. I'm really not a fan of food trucks. That was great.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's different up there because it's basically they just can't afford brick and mortar, so it's like a food truck out of necessity, not really like any other reason.
Yeah. No, but it was good. It was good. Yeah. I was happy.
Yeah.
So we're not going to reveal the musical talent?
Say that again?
Are we going to reveal who the musical talent is going to be?
Oh, yeah, it's on there. We just pushed out the concert poster last week, actually, but our headliner is Max Gomez. He was the opener for Jeff Beck and Johnny Depp's tour last fall.
Nice.
So, yeah, Jeff Beck, rest in peace. He ended up dying earlier this year, so that was his last tour.
So
Yes,
sad.
I know. It was crazy lucky that Dave and I went to go see them, but we saw Max open, and afterwards, after the show, I was like, Dave, should we go ask this guy if he wants to come play Mammoth Tuff? Not having like any idea how this stuff works. So I just went up to him afterwards. I was like, so have you ever been to Mammoth? They're like, you want to play a show up there? And he's like, yeah, send me a message. So that was how that happened. We really
great.
we're just like stumbling over how to put on a show, but we're figuring it out, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome because Max is great and he's really great live.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, our opener is she's a local girl, Elizabeth Petra, so she's going to kind of get the crowd warmed up, and then our second act is an Olympic skateboarder. She was on the Olympic team in the last round for skateboarding, which that was the first time it was in the Olympics. And she's also a musician and she plays the ukulele. So she's going to come up. I think it's pretty cool to have a professional skateboarder that can play the ukulele. So she's our second.
How niche is that?
I know, right?
A skateboarding uke player.
Yeah.
That's the first on me. Wow.
Yeah.
Quickly, if you have any more questions, throw them in here. I know I'll put up a couple that just came up. I know Doug, strong opinions between 40 millimeter medium knobby versus 50 more knobby tires.
That's a big gap. I don't know. Right, there's a sweet spot right in the middle there.
45.
I would say, 40 is too narrow. 50 is a lot. I mean, a 48 or a 44 would be fine.
Okay. And then Stephanie, through hard pushes here, a granite powder rather than cycling through SoCal sand.
Ooh, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, if she's from, I think she said she was from Los Angeles, so I would definitely say it's definitely more difficult up there. You know, like I said, it's still manageable. I think, that area is better than probably some of the stuff you get in the Lone Pine area, further down. Especially I think like the route that you've chosen takes advantage of, the better parts and in the correct direction. That's super important. So yeah, I definitely think it, from my experience, definitely harder. And Martin, okay, he's decided to comment again, even after I flung darts at him. I signed up for one of the Niner demo bikes. Excited for that. Do you know how they will be set up?
Yeah, so I'm glad he read the rider guide. There are 9 demo bikes available. 4 of them have been accounted for, and you can sign up for them on Bike Reg. So there are 5 sizes left if you are interested in that. We found out today that they're going to be set up with 45C tires, so plenty of cush for Mammoth. So you don't have to worry about tire size for that. They decided to go with the 45, kind of knowing what to expect up there. But yeah, if anybody else is interested, the 5 that are left over are on Bike Reg right now, and it's free. You can demo the bike and race on it and see how you like it.
Sweet.
I saw Dave commented it's going to be the SRAM rival group.
Yeah.
So good on that.
Which Niner is it? The RDO?
Yeah. So they have, I think, 5 or 6 of the carbon ones, and then a handful of the steel ones. If you're into that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then will the routes be posted for download on the Tuff site?
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, this route that we just went over likely will remain the same for the short course, and then the medium and the long routes are the ones that we're a little bit nervous about and giving ourselves until the Monday before the event to release the routes, which is what we did last year. And we did a Tuff Talk and an Instagram live that next day to kind of go through each of the routes. And I think we'll probably do that this year in like a little comparison to whatever changes had to be made from the previous year. But we're hoping that they'll fix those sections that we're worried about and kind of we can keep it similar.
Oh. Well, are you so the beer mile is back.
Yeah.
Is the crazy prize giveaway on Sunday going on as well. Too.
Yes, I think we're gonna have less items, so it'll be less of a cluster. So we went like less but higher value. So like there's gonna be, I think, 3 Karutus this year. There's gonna be a full like carbon 9er RLT frame set. Shimano's giving an entire 11-speed GRX group, including wheels. So we kept
Wow.
things, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So there's gonna be like lesser items but higher value. So we're gonna have a little bit less of the running around this time, but it'll still be fun, and I'm excited about kind of having some bigger ticket items that people can get.
I thought it was cool last year. Somebody got a frame last year.
Yeah. This year's gonna be carbon. Last year, I think Gary won the, or Danny. Was it Danny that one? Yeah, he won the alloy frame. Yeah.
Quick question. I know when is chiming back in. Questions about camping. I know a lot of people actually did camp last year, but for those that haven't been, what are their options?
Yeah, so I looked the other day actually, and everything that's reservable from recreation.gov is all filled in town. So one thing that happened this year is the Mammoth Yoga Festival is the same weekend as us because they had to move from a snow cancellation earlier this year. So because of that, yeah, lodging options are a little bit tighter this time around, but there are still some camping spots available at McGee and around Tom's Place. So if you are okay staying a little bit farther south. And then also on our website, there is a travel section, and we've linked the Inyo National Forest has a whole handout on where you're allowed to do dispersed camping, and there's maps, and you can pull out certain areas. So if you're okay with dispersed camping that not necessarily has facilities or bathrooms, there's a really good guide in there about all the places that you can do it. So if you're looking for that free camping, use that as a resource, and also anywhere that's BLM land you can camp.
I was going to say there's definitely BLM land that's close by.
Yeah.
David Sheck is asking about shirts and why am I not on brand? And I'm shamefully like, I don't know what happened to my shirt because it's one of the coolest shirts.
Well, you can't find it? I gotta send you a new one?
Please. But
Okay.
I guess also you also have a reveal too that you kind of teased.
Yeah.
That you may want to show people because I don't think the camera has scrolled down yet.
Yeah, no, I was kind of waiting for it. I was hoping people stuck around to finally see the shirt. But yeah, Vic has last year's shirt on. You can still order that. We have some left over from last year. We have a bunch of orders from Bike Reg that people are going to pick up from the shirts from last year. And then this is this year's shirt. So for those that don't know, this is Mike Vallely. I'm pretty sure, Dave, I hope that's how you say his last name, but it's a Mike Vallely design. It was like his deck from New Deal skateboards when he rode for them in like the early 90s. So we kind of kept the same like skateboard deck theme. Mike ended up writing for Powell Peralta also, which was kind of the design theme behind last year's shirt. So yeah, we went with the same skater theme, Tuff tee for this year.
Sweet.
Yeah. I really need that. I don't know if you heard, like, there's going to be like a Bones Brigade Fest.
Really?
They've announced, Tony Hawk, all like Steve Caballero, all the guys. They haven't announced the site. I think it's in a couple months. They haven't put the. I know. So like wearing that shirt for that would be pretty cool. So I'm definitely looking to try and relive. I saw Tony Hawk here in the Valley when he was like 15.
Yeah.
You know, and I just was like, wow, this guy is going to be a superstar, even though skateboarding was nothing like that at the time. So,
wow.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't go back to skateboarding like this, but I'm really sorry I'm missing it this year. You can blame Sandy Koufax because he missed the World Series for the high holidays, and I kind of felt like I
set the precedence.
Yeah, I'm like, if he can miss a World Series game, I have to be here for my family, and I've been training the first part of the year specifically for the long, and I'll be honest, I've kind of let down after I kind of realized the schedule snafu for me, but I don't definitely do not have that issue in 2024. It just, if I'm still in the presidential race, then it may be iffy. But I think I should be in the clear for the most part. But other than that,
Can someone like drop $1 in the chat or something just so Zach won't have to do his presidential campaign? Let's help him out. Or let's keep him doing this through Patreon. So if you're not already a Patreon subscriber, I am. So you guys should be too.
Yes, thank you so much, Amanda. I love the, it's not so much the money, although that does help, but it does really, the fact that people really do care for the work that we do here and the community that we have. Like, that's super helpful. And and I love this event. I love what you've done with it and how much you and Dave both care for this area and are just amazing stewards for the sport in general, how much you care and put yourselves out there. Oh, Dave thinks I should be president.
No, Dave, stop.
All right. It changes things. Well, other than that, September 16th, I know, please, people make it out there. Make it a whole weekend. It's an experience. Bring your family. Do you have any other parting words, Amanda?
No, come have fun. Just, I think Martin's question made me think about how everybody needs to come into this with their own, what's important to them, if it's coming, spending time with your family, or if it's making a name for yourself. To be honest, if you're a pretty fast bike racer, you could win this thing and make a pretty good name for yourself in California, regionally doing well here. So if that's important to you, show up the night before and just go for it on Saturday. But if that's not, and you really just want to come chill, maybe go to the pool after you ride, do stuff like that. Just eat a lot, drink a lot, hydrate, get ready for the altitude feeling, and remember that everybody's also feeling it, so you're not alone. And just come have a good time. I think that's really all I want, is for people to have a safe environment to go ride out there, because it is a pretty daunting area to just do it by yourself, and that's part of why we put on the event, so you can come do it and have a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, Amanda, you could see by everyone's comments, they're super excited for this. Looking forward to another fantastic year too.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. This was fun.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye, Amanda.